beautiful people! Welcome back to my channel. And for today's video, it is going to be rating all of the books that I have. So please subscribe and give this video a big thumbs up. Let's get started. So, I will be giving 1 star to a book if I don't really like it. I hate it and it is not my cup of tea. I'll be giving 2 stars if I like some of it, but it didn't work out for me. And then 3 stars for a book that is just neutral. I mean, like, the book is okay, but I didn't love it, nor I didn't hate it that much. So, neutral. Then we have 4 stars. It means that I would definitely recommend it. Maybe it just didn't reach 5 stars because it just didn't blow me away enough. And then finally, our highest rating, which is 5 stars. It means that it was so unforgettable and it took me weeks to get over it. Our first book we have is Awake in the World by Jason Gurley. Oh, by the way, most of the books that I'll be rating today are the books that I just hauled 4 months ago, if I'm not mistaken. So if you haven't watched that, I would recommend you to watch it first. So going back with Awake in the World by Jason Gurley. So here we will be following 2 characters. The first character is Vanessa. Vanessa is an astronomer-to-be, so she has an interest in astronomy. On the other hand, we have Zach, which is more interested in arts. So their interests together are very opposite, and in the story, we will see how their opposites will attract. So as for my rating in this book, I actually rate it 2 stars out of 5. Why? Because it's not the best book out there. I mean, like, there are more good reads or good books. I just didn't enjoy it that much. Another thing is that there is not much unique element into this book, and it just made me want to finish it so that I can read another book right after this one. So it's not really the best thing in the world. So the next book, it will be The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. I know I am very late with this trend. This book was published like, I don't know, 5 years ago or 6 years ago. At ngayon ko lang siya nabasa. Shame, I know. So, The Fault in Our Stars focuses on a girl named Hazel Grace, which she has a cancer in her lungs, and then we will follow her love story with Augustus Waters, who has a disabled foot. What makes it interesting because 2 of the characters are actually going and looking forward for the author of the Imperial Affliction. So there's like an adventure to it, and I think that's the only thing that I can say before I can spoil other more details. So as for my rating, okay, I'll be giving this a 3 stars. Why? Because I get it. I get it why it was hyped before, and I get it why it was all over the place, and why is it a New York Times bestseller. So I really get that point. But even though I appreciate the author John Green, because even though the story is kind of serious, of course, you're talking about cancer, it is a topic that is very sensitive and it is very serious. But then the author, I appreciated how he put some comedy into the storyline, and I just really, really like it. So, fun fact, it didn't make me cry though. Oh, that feels like a spoiler, but yeah, it didn't feel I don't know, how do you explain this? It just didn't make me cry. I don't know with that sense. Maybe ako na yung problema, hindi ng libro. Okay, so that is for The Fault in Our Stars. Next, okay, My Lady Jane. I have high expectations for this book because it was princess, it was royalty, it's more of that thing. But I didn't expect that it's going to be more of a fantasy or very whimsical. Like imagine, in a second, I'll be turning into a cow. I just didn't really expect that. So, for Lady Jane, this is actually a retelling. Well, not actually. They changed, you know. We all know who Lady Jane is. She became queen for just a day or so. So, the narrators, or the one who actually made this book, I forgot to mention, it was Cynthia Han, Brody Ashton, and Jodie Meadows. They changed the history of Jane to what they wanted it to be. And it's really interesting, okay? So for the rating, I'll be rating this book for 3 stars. You know why? It is just neutral. I like it, but I don't love it. Something like that. Yes, it is very of a fantasy that I didn't expect. And actually, I enjoyed the narrators. Why? Because the narrators in this book is just funny, and while reading, I actually could feel that while reading, I could actually feel that the narrators are talking to me. So that's the feeling that I get with this book, and I'm really happy, neutral happy that I read it. And the story, the ending rather, was great. The next book we will be having the next book we will be having is The Beauty Sleep. Actually, sigh. This is by Catherine Evans. We will be following, or it's a story about a girl named Laura. She was comatose, if I'm not mistaken, and she just something happened before, and then eventually the start point of this book, she just woke up, and it's bam, it's 40 years later, and then the story continues. I know it's very vague, yung mga sinasabi ko, but then I just don't want to spoil you guys, and that's just the line over there. That's the point over there. So for Beauty Sleep, this is one of the books that I actually don't like. And it is not a surprise for me to giving it a 1 star. I just didn't really enjoy it. It's not my cup of tea. Yes, it's just not my cup of tea. Another thing is that in the middle of the book, I actually can predict who is the antagonist already and what will happen next. So it's very predictable. And actually, it took me 2 months just to finish it. Maybe because I lack motivation in reading this book, so it's just been there lying around for 2 months, and I'm proud of myself dahil finally natapos ko na rin siya last month. So yeah, it just took me a lot of time to finish this, and I didn't really enjoy it. And to be honest, this is like one of the books that that after I read it, I just threw it away. Oh, that's disrespectful. I'm so sorry, Catherine Evans. I just didn't like it at all. John Green, Paper Towns. Well, to be honest, I'm not really a big fan of John Green's writing, but how he makes his storyline is really unique. And with this one, we'll be following a guy named Quentin, wherein he has like a crush with his neighbor called Margot Spiegelman. Margot. Okay, so Quentin has a crush on Margot, and Margot is some like an opposite kind of girl. She's very mysterious. She's more of mysteries and finding out what's wrong or what not. And with this story, one day Margot just disappeared, and then Quentin is trying to find Margot. So basically, it's an adventure upon finding Margot Spiegelman.
And we're not done yet with the pronunciation. My
I cannot pronounce that
God.
right. So, upon to my rating, this book into 2 stars only. 2 out of a 5 star. Number 1, my first reason. So, I don't really like the character. The character's character. Because one thing I don't like about Quentin's character is that I feel like he's very self-centered. That's what I thought upon reading the book. I feel like he's very self-centered, and I feel like he just didn't really, I don't know, he just didn't really care about much other people, but rather finding in Margot Spiegelman in a way that he was not that supportive with his friends. That's just the character that I don't like about it. And then next thing, why is it a 2-star? Because it is a very teenagey book. And by the means of teenagey, it is really very, I don't know how to explain it, but it was very teenager, okay? So that's it for John Green Paper Down. Ooh, let me fix
Sis, you just noticed now your hair is twirling around. You're good. Proceed.
Then we have our A Million Junes by Emily Henry. So, here we will be following a character named Jack O'Donnell. It is not a boy, it's a girl. Her nickname is June. So right after her father died, his father turned into a ghost, and then it keeps on giving out mysteries or clues on what happened in the past. I forgot to mention that this book is actually quite like a Romeo Juliet. There's an inspiration to it. So yeah, it's basically the O'Donnell family versus the Angert family. So as for my ratings about this book, I'll be giving this 3 stars. It was just neutral. I didn't love it. I didn't enjoy it that much, and I just like it. But no hate. Something like that. That's why it's 3 stars. So here, mine, I actually have notes here. So in this book, the first thing that I pointed out here is that her name is weird. I mean, like, if your name is Jack O'Donnell, the first thing that comes into my mind na, oh, you're a boy. So I feel like I'm following a boy character in the first part of the book. But then, it was June after all. She was a girl, so it's like it's a weird name. It's just a weird name for me. And then next, yes, I'm not a fan of ghost stories. More likely because, I don't know, I'm just not really interested with it. And that's why I just gave it like 3 stars. I mean, like, the writing was good. Although I'm just not really a fan of ghost stories. And then next is that I didn't feel much chemistry between June and Saul Angert. So yes, it's another romantic read, but then there's like a twist to it. A twist in the past. And let's hop on to Lovely War by Julie Berry. This is one of the best standalones out there. And to be honest, I didn't really expect that I'll be enjoying this book, knowing that it will be centered in World War II and there's romance in it. But it just blew me away. So in this story, we'll be actually following Hazel, James, Aubrey, and Colette. Hazel is actually a pianist, while James is the one who's serving in the military. Aubrey, he is a jazz player, so he's a musician like Hazel. And then Colette, which is a Belgian orphan who loves to sing. And I just really like this book because it has a lot of It has a lot of unique elements to it, especially that I enjoyed how Aphrodite or the other gods narrated this story. So with my rating, it is expected that I'll be rating this into a 5 stars. So this is actually the first book that I'll be rating 5 stars with. So it is a 5-star book because number 1, it is just easy to read. I really thought that it will take me months to finish this book. But then once I got into reading, the next day I'm just like into page 400 already. That's how fast the story goes, and I just really love it. So yes, the second point, it has its own unique element, which is the narration of the Greek goddess Aphrodite and the other gods. And then third, I really love the characters, especially Hazel and Colette. I didn't really expect that Hazel and Colette will be friends like that. Okay, so much of the spoilers. So yeah, I just love the characters. And another thing that I like about this book is that I learned how people with color lived back then. It was just really hard for them before, and it was just unfair, to be honest. And we all know what had happened back then. So now I'm aware. Thank you, Judy Berry, for a very outstanding book. 5 star. Next, we have These Broken Stars by Amy Kaufman and Megan Spooner. It's like Titanic in the way that they're in a space. I mean, this book is all about survival, okay? So they're like in the ship or something, the richest girl and the normal guy. They're like in a ship, then it suddenly crashed, and then the two of them came together, and then suddenly they're finding their way out of this whole new planet that is very new and very unfamiliar with. So it's like Titanic, but then in outer space, okay? So my rating here, I'll be giving this 3 stars out of 5. I'll not be giving this 4, I'll not be giving this 2, I'll not be giving this 5, okay? Because number 1, halfway of the book, it was really boring. Yes, I have to admit it, to be honest, half of the book was really boring. But then when you reach till the end, it is not boring anymore. It was really filled with a lot of things. I just really can't tell you guys because it will be a spoiler kind of video. So yeah, so half of the book, it was a bit boring, but then when you reach the end, it was really interesting. Then the second thing that I wrote here is that the writing is too wordy. I don't know, maybe because hindi lang ko sanay sa mga libro na at a page you have like a lot of things going on, and it just really took me like hours actually. It took me hours to finish just one chapter. It's really wordy for me, it's wordy for me. So I'll be giving this a 3 stars. Then the next book we have If I Stay by Gail Forman. So I actually have, this is actually a duology, though I only have the first book with me. So in this book, it is more of her retelling her past or what happened to her before the incident. Spoiler alert. So yes, so this is actually one of the books that I just read very fast, because I mean, look at the font, guys. It's just really big, and with how many pages is this, it's just really fast to read. Yeah, it's really fast. So I'll be giving this 3 stars out of 5 because number 1, it is one of my quick reads, and number 2, I enjoyed her narrating her life. I mean, all of her past life. And then number 3, she's related to music. That is why I'll be giving this a 3 out of a 5 stars. Next book is American Royals. Actually, I made a separate video about this. So if you haven't watched it, please do check it out. It will be linked here, or wherever. So American Royals. I actually rated it also in the video. Then we have the Lunar Chronicles series, which also I'll be giving a separate video. I'll be making a separate video about this series, especially that I still don't have Winter in it. I only have Crest, Scarlet, and Cinder. So I'll be making a separate video about this. So these two, the Lunar Chronicles series and the American Royals, I have 2 separate videos about it. This one, I have it already. It's already published. And this one is soon to be published. Wow, so much for that. And our last book for today, actually a series, okay? A series. Wait. It's not organized. Let's organize it first. We have the Selection series. Well, I know I've read some of the reviews in BookTube and in Book Talk, and I don't know why other people didn't really like the book. I know we have different tastes, we have different cups of tea, and this is my cup of tea. You know why? Because these 3 books, I don't know, I feel like I just ate them in an hour. Is that really okay? Yeah, I just feel it that way because I just read this for a day and a half. The following day, it's like a book that I just can't bring it down, you know? It's a book that I am really wanting to read. I want to know what happens next. I want to know what will happen to a mess and something like that. It's a book that I cannot just put down. That is why, for my own opinion, I'll be giving this series the 3 books for a 5 out of a 5 stars. Because it took me, to be honest, it took me 1 month to get over with this book. And it's really chef's kiss. It's really good for me. But then, this book came out. We have The Heir. It's actually a sequel to the 3 books right here. I don't know. To be honest, I am going to separate these 3 to this book and The Crown, of course. I actually read The Crown, the 4th book of the series. The 5th book of the series. It's just not here. I just read it on an ebook. So, we'll be getting separate ratings for this. Because this one, I'll be rating this a 2 out of a 5 star. I don't know why, because the character we're following is, oh, maybe this is a spoiler, but I just don't really like the character. I just don't like her attitude at all. That's why I'll be giving it a 2 star out of a 5, okay? And that is all for my video for today. As you can see, from top here to bottom, and a lot of papers are there. It's just really, ganito pala kahirap mag-video, no? Ganito pala kahirap mag-vlog. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you, and see you next time.